I think the thing that surprised me most about being a councillor is just how important councils are, just how important local democracies are. And I really wish that this was something that had more of a national profile. I mean, councils, yeah, of course, deal with bins and all the other things like that. But in terms of health and social care and education and planning and violence against women and girls and all the other really important things that councils do that we never really hear about. The biggest highlight for me definitely has to be being the first council in Scotland to introduce family leave for councillors, so maternity and paternity leave for councillors. I'm sure that anybody watching this will probably be quite surprised to find that certainly when I was elected there was no such thing as maternity leave. And of course, just after the election I found myself in the situation of being pregnant, and in fact when I was 8 months pregnant found myself in a council chamber arguing for just even a day off to give birth would have been nice. And that was a real barrier in terms of getting women and men of kind of that age to come forward and be council candidates and think about themselves like that, because it just is such a basic human right to be able to have that time to bond as a family and to bond with your baby. And I don't think that there's any other type of employment out there where we would think that that wouldn't be the right thing to do. So I was really proud to do that, and that launched a national campaign, and I think to date most councils have adopted that policy, and I hope that because of that we'll see more younger councillors, more women councillors coming forward for the next election.
There's been quite a lot. Sometimes it can be real simple things when someone contacts you and maybe there's been what seems to be very simple and very easy to resolve, like a bin that's maybe not been cleared for months and it's causing a lot of stress. And when the resident comes back to you and says, oh, thank you very much, that's made such a difference in my life, that was causing so much stress, it was actually impacting my mental health. And it can be some massive things as well that take years sometimes to achieve. So for example, an area that I represent in Govan Hill, there was years ago, and still to some extent, are challenges around the lack of social housing in the area. So in 2012 when I was elected, there was an imbalance in the social housing in the area. There was more private lets compared to social housing. So community was contacting me and saying, there's an absent landlord, there's no factoring, there's building going into disrepair, a lot of stress, a lot of concerns that have been raised. So what we came up with was the Govan Hill Acquisition Programme. So that was a programme between Glasgow City Council and the Scottish Government, which was a multi-million programme that's been documented nationally, and it brings private lets to a housing tolerable standard. And if that housing tolerable standard is not achieved, then the local housing association acquires that property and brings it into social let, and that has made an impact on the area.
As an MSP, there are many aspects to the job. Some of them I knew about before getting elected, but there are many others that I think I'm getting to grips with nearly a year in fact, a year already. So as a constituency MSP for Glasgow Kelvin, I take casework from any constituent that lives within the boundaries, and that can vary from housing issues to education issues. It could be regarding the bins, it could be regarding transport. Obviously those areas cover different democratic processes, so I work very closely with my council colleagues and my MP colleagues to make sure that any areas that are reserved are, I work with the MPs on that, and if they're council issues, then I work with my council colleagues on that. I also attend many community events within the constituency, and that can go from helping to open a new facility to doing litter picks on a Sunday within the local community as well. Glasgow Kelvin covers the city centre, so I'm fortunate to have a lot of head offices that are based in my constituency. So I have regular meetings to make sure that I am engaged with the stakeholders stakeholders that are within my constituency as well.
My main focus as Shetland's MSP is obviously to represent Shetland and to make sure that island issues are brought right to into Parliament, and I use every opportunity I have to do that. There's not a one-size-fits-all approach to things, and at the same time I am conscious of my wider duties to the rest of Scotland, and so it's every day is a learning day, and I think that issues, wider issues that I'm able to bring when I think about sort of women's health issues. Just this week I spoke up about the perinatal mental health services and issues like endometriosis that other colleagues here have raised as well, but you're able to find that common ground. So I think that raising the island issues, but being very conscious of your important role for the rest of Scotland too.
I've got a few jobs. So when you're an MSP, obviously you represent your constituents. So I have surgeries, people write to me, I use social media a lot. I get round into the community. So a Tuesday, a Wednesday and a Thursday, I'm in the Parliament. A Monday and a Friday and a Saturday, I'm at home in the constituency. So I come on a Monday night and I go home on a Thursday night. I'm also a junior whip, I'm a shadow minister, I'm a member of the British Irish Parliamentary Assembly, and I'm also the convener of the cross-party group on credit unions. So I suppose the main thing is, what's it like? It's busy, and one has to be really, really disciplined with time.
The other amazing thing is that all my knowledge and experience of teaching for 30 years, I'm the Vice Convener of the Education, Children and Young People's Committee. So it's a real privilege to put that knowledge and expertise to good use in scrutinising the government's policies on education, but also representing that voice of teachers directly from school as well.
Well, I preside over meetings of the Parliament, that is, I chair the Parliament. I also, some of the things that I'm doing now I hadn't wholly appreciated before I was elected to this role, and it's a great privilege to be chairing the Scottish Parliament corporate body too. And I also chair the Parliament's Business Bureau, and that's a cross-party group that looks at the business that we discuss in Parliament week in, week out. There's also representing the Parliament at home and abroad, welcoming visitors to the Parliament from around the globe, and also reaching out and visiting different parliaments, learning from different speakers, understanding how democracy works there, having a look at how gender equal parliaments across the globe are, for example. So that's a really interesting area of work. I mean, it's all really interesting, challenging, and a fabulous privilege. There's obviously cross-party groups. There are, I think, over 100 where the Parliament and external organisations and individuals come together who have specific interests on a huge range of areas, and we're meeting with external organisations, bodies, constituents all the time.